Welcome to the deep dive. We are thrilled you're joining us today because we have uh, a very specific and really actionable mission for this one.
We really do.
Yeah, we are going to completely strip away the overwhelm of starting a YouTube channel in 2026. Because if you've been sitting on the sidelines feeling like the financial barrier to entry is just too high, or maybe the editing tech is too confusing, or you just think the market is too saturated, this conversation is tailored exactly for you.
It's tailored for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the digital landscape can certainly feel daunting right now. I mean, it moves so fast.
Right.
But today, we're unpacking two absolutely fascinating pieces of material that, when you combine them, they create this rather brilliant masterclass in modern content creation.
Right.
We aren't just looking at how to make a video. We're looking at the underlying architecture of digital income, and more importantly, how to build it sustainably without completely burning out.
Which is the trap everyone falls into.
Yeah.
So our first piece of material today is a highly tactical nuts and bolts guide. It's called Beginner YouTube Channel Types Plus Tools to Create Them.
Great guide.
It really is. It acts as a direct blueprint. It lists the channel formats, the software, the costs required today. But, a blueprint is pretty useless if you're too paralyzed by anxiety to actually start building anything.
Exactly.
And that is where our second piece of documentation comes in. It's an instructor profile for a digital growth educator named Lady Z.
And the synergy between these two sources is what makes this so compelling. The blueprint provides the raw materials, the map, but Lady Z provides the psychological framework to actually execute on that map.
Which is huge.
It is. We're moving past the typical internet hype here. We're looking at the real mechanics of how this actually works for a beginner right now.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I want to start with the single biggest barrier that stops almost everyone before they even hit record. There is this massive assumption, and we hear it all the time, that you need thousands of dollars in camera gear, professional lighting, and really complex editing software just to start a channel.
Oh, yeah. The gear obsession.
Right. But the documentation we're looking at delivers a pretty stark reality check. A brand new creator can start a highly functional, highly professional channel with an investment of exactly $0.
Zero. A profound shift from even just, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, barely that long.
The democratization of these digital tools means capital is simply no longer the gatekeeper. The barrier to entry isn't financial anymore. It is purely strategic.
Purely strategic. And the guide actually lists out the exact starter stack of core free tools required. It's a really tight list. You've got Canva, CapCut, Pexels, OBS, and ChatGPT.
Right.
That is an entire production studio right there on your laptop for absolutely nothing.
It's credible.
But having the tools is one thing. Actually opening them up, staring at a complex editing timeline, and figuring out what to click without having a panic attack, that's another thing entirely. How does a total beginner approach a stack of new software without immediately closing their laptop?
Well, this is exactly where Lady Z's teaching philosophy becomes so essential. Her profile highlights a very unique approach to digital education. She teaches digital growth with this blend of straight talk, warmth, and this is how her students describe it, African mama encouragement.
I love that so much. That phrase paints such a vivid picture, African mama encouragement.
It really does.
It evokes that feeling of being guided by someone who genuinely cares about your success, but absolutely will not let you make excuses for yourself.
That's exactly it. It's gentle accountability. When we look at her teaching structure, what's really striking for anyone listening is her strict insistence on small steps over jargon.
So important.
Because the digital world is full of people trying to sound smart by using complicated terminology.
Wow, everywhere.
Right, and Lady Z rejects that entirely.
Yeah.
She focuses on breaking large, intimidating platforms down into small, highly doable systems. Her core philosophy prioritizes confidence, clarity, and momentum over technical complexity. She understands that if a beginner feels overwhelmed, they just stop.
They freeze.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if they have clarity on the very next step, they build momentum.
So if we apply Lady Z's small steps rule to that $0 tool stack, it means you don't need to learn how to use Canva and CapCut and OBS all on day one.
Please don't try to do that.
Right. You just need to open one program and learn one basic function. The profile actually notes that she uses her own lived experience and relatable humor to explain the why behind the instructions, not just the how.
And that distinction, the why versus the how, is the critical difference between a simple tutorial and actual mentorship.
Elaborate on that.
Well, when a learner only knows the how, they tend to freeze the second a software interface updates and moves a button. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
But when they understand the why, they can adapt. Lady Z's learners are getting transformation and structure rather than just a massive data dump of instructions.
Which is exactly what you need when you're starting out. So, okay, assuming we have that $0 tool stack downloaded and we're adopting the Lady Z mindset of taking things one small step at a time, we really need to pivot to the money mechanics.
Ah, yes, the money.
Because eventually the goal here is to build an income stream. How do these channels actually generate revenue from the videos they post?
This brings us to the fundamental math of YouTube, which is centered around a specific metric called CPM.
CPM.
Yes, CPM stands for cost per mil, which is Latin for thousand. In practical terms, it is the exact cost that advertisers are willing to pay for every 1,000 monetized views on your content.
Okay, let's walk through a concrete example of that so it's super clear. If a specific niche has a $20 CPM, that means advertisers are paying $20 into the system for every 1,000 monetized views a video gets. But the creator doesn't keep all of that, though. YouTube takes their cut, leaving the creator with about 55% of that ad revenue. So the actual earnings are slightly lower than the raw CPM number, but the CPM itself remains the ultimate indicator of how valuable a specific niche is to the advertising market.
And this leads to what might be the biggest misconception we see in the digital space. People assume that huge views automatically equal huge money.
Right.
But the data shows they absolutely do not.
Okay, let's push on that for a second. Because if someone posts a funny cat compilation or a meme video that goes globally viral and hits 5 million views, doesn't that automatically translate to a massive payday?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah, the guide breaks this down by comparing low CPM niches versus high CPM niches. Those viral entertainment videos, the memes, the general music compilations, those are incredibly low CPM niches. A meme video with 5 million views might make just a fraction of the ad revenue generated by a much smaller video in a totally different category. Yeah. And on the flip side, you have high CPM niches. Things like business, finance, technology, marketing, and education.
Okay, so why is the gap so wide? Why would a video with 50,000 views make more money than a video with 5 million views?
What's fascinating here is that it all comes down to the advertiser's return on investment. Advertisers follow purchasing intent.
Purchasing intent, okay.
They're willing to pay top dollar, a high CPM, for audiences in business, finance, and tech, because those viewers are actively looking to buy products, software, and professional services. If you are watching an hour-long, highly technical breakdown of a new accounting software platform, you are highly likely to purchase that software.
That makes total sense.
But if you're watching a 10-second cat meme, you probably aren't in the market for enterprise tech solutions.
I mean, I love cat memes, but I'm definitely not buying B2B software right after watching one. And this connects to a really powerful mindset shift highlighted in the beginner guide. The primary goal of a modern channel is not just racking up views. If you're solely chasing views, you are basically playing a losing game. The guide maps out a totally different formula. Views lead to trust, trust leads to an audience, and an audience leads to income streams.
Notice the plural there.
Yeah.
Streams. The guide is very explicit that views are simply the traffic system. They're just the very top of the funnel. The real power of a modern channel is building what they call the income stack.
The income stack, that is a brilliant concept because it completely shifts how you view a single video. The guide breaks down 5 main ways channels make money, using an AI tools tutorial channel as a hypothetical example.
Right.
So let's walk through how one single video reviewing an AI scheduling tool can generate revenue in 5 different ways. First, obviously, you have standard YouTube ad revenue, which kicks in after you meet the platform subscriber and watch hour requirements.
But that baseline ad revenue is really just the tip of the iceberg, though. Second, you have affiliate marketing. If that video is reviewing the AI scheduling tool, the creator places a specific affiliate link in the video description. Every time a viewer watches the review, clicks that link, and signs up for a free trial or buys the tool, the creator earns a commission.
Awesome. And then third is digital products. The creator can use that exact same video to promote their own digital courses, templates, or maybe downloadable guides related to productivity. Fourth, sponsorships. As the channel builds trust, software companies will pay the creator directly upfront to feature their products in the video, completely separate from YouTube's ad revenue.
Yeah.
And fifth, community and memberships. The creator can direct highly engaged viewers to exclusive paid communities on platforms like School or Patreon.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see why Lady Z's focus on sustainable systems is so vital here. You aren't just uploading a video and hoping for viral fame. You're building a digital asset.
A digital asset.
Yeah, one piece of content is simultaneously working for you across 5 different revenue channels. But of course, you don't build all 5 on day one. You start with the content, build the trust, and layer those income streams over time.
So here's where it gets really interesting. The guide actually unveils 7 specific YouTube channel ideas that are currently exploding in 2026. And remarkably, they still have relatively low competition.
These are the sweet spots, the areas where the high CPMs intersect with high viewer demand.
Let's pace ourselves and look at a few of these, because the first 2 heavily feature artificial intelligence. Number 1 is AI tools for small business, which commands a massive CPM ranging from $18 to $40. Number 2 is AI productivity and work hacks, pulling a $15 to $35 CPM. Why are these specific AI niches so lucrative right now?
Because millions of small business owners and independent professionals are completely overwhelmed by the rapid pace of AI development. They know they need to implement these tools to stay competitive, but they just do not have the time to learn them.
They're too busy running their business.
Exactly. So a channel that acts as a translator, testing the tools and showing a business owner exactly how to save 10 hours a week is providing immense actionable value. Advertisers know that audience has a budget and is ready to spend it.
Which is why they pay $40 a thousand views.
Hmm.
Okay, the guide also lists business case study channels where you might break down the rise and fall of companies like Uber, Netflix, or maybe emerging African startups. That carries a $20 to $45 CPM.
Yeah, this is a big one.
And then there is the Faceless Documentary channel, which uses historical or tech stories paired with stock footage, bringing in a $10 to $25 CPM.
Let me ask a clarifying question here, actually. If we are focusing on high CPM business niches where people want to buy software, how does a documentary channel fit into that? Are tech advertisers really paying for history lessons?
That is a great question. And yes, they absolutely are because of the demographics.
Demographics, okay. A faceless documentary about, say, the engineering failures of early silicon chips or the hidden history of the internet naturally attracts viewers who are deeply interested in technology, engineering, and digital infrastructure. It's an entertainment format, yes, but the audience consists of the exact same professionals who buy high-end software and tech products. The bridge is the demographic.
Wow, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Rounding out the list of 7, we have creator economy channels explaining how to make money online, AI automation tutorials offering step-by-step guides for efficiency, and educational explain it simply, channels that break down complex global topics really quickly.
And when you synthesize that entire list of 7 niches, they all share 3 vital ingredients. First, curiosity. Viewers want to understand the rapidly changing world around them.
Right.
Second, opportunity. Viewers are actively seeking ways to improve their financial or professional lives. And third, practical value. The viewer walks away from the video having learned something objectively useful that they can apply immediately.
And perhaps the most liberating detail in this entire guide is that for many of these lucrative niches, you never even have to appear on camera. The documentation specifically highlights faceless documentaries and voiceover explainer channels as prime models. If you're camera shy or you simply don't want to deal with lighting a set, it doesn't matter. This is the faceless advantage.
It is a massive advantage for beginners. And to make it even easier, the guide breaks down a highly effective, repeatable structural template tailored specifically for faceless creators.
Right.
They refer to it as the VOX style structure, named after the digital media company.
So for a listener who might not be familiar with that term, what does a VOX-style video actually look and feel like visually?
Visually, it's very distinct. It doesn't rely on a charismatic host talking directly to the camera. Instead, it relies heavily on dynamic on-screen elements. You'll see charts that animate kinetic typography where the text actually moves to emphasize points, maps, highlighted articles, and really high-quality stock footage, all paced carefully to a compelling voiceover. The secret is that the engagement comes entirely from the pacing of the ideas and the storytelling, not the creator's personality.
Which removes just a massive layer of pressure. The guide maps out the exact 5 steps to execute this structure, specifically tailored for an Is It Worth It style series. Let's walk through these 5 steps using a hypothetical video concept. Let's say our video is titled, Is Starting an AI Agency Actually Worth It in 2026? Step 1 is the hook. The guide says this should be just 5 to 8 seconds. It has to feature a surprising fact or a provocative question.
Right, so for our hypothetical video, the hook might be a rapid sequence of news headlines about AI replacing jobs, paired with a voiceover saying, everyone is claiming you can make $10,000 a month with an AI agency, but behind the scenes, 80% of them fail in the first month.
Oh, that immediately grabs attention. Step 2 is the big question. This is where you formally introduce the scope of the investigation. The voiceover might say, "Today, we are looking at the actual profit margins of AI agencies to find out if this business model is legitimate or just another internet trend." It sets clear expectations. Step 3 is the breakdown. This is the longest segment, really the meat of the video. This is where you deliver the practical value. You would visually explain the data, what the overhead costs are, the level of market competition, the exact effort required to find clients, and the realistic earning potential.
Step 4 is the verdict. You synthesize the data and categorize the topic. So for our AI agency video, you might conclude that it is highly risky for beginners, but maybe a hidden opportunity for those with sales experience.
Yeah.
And finally, step 5 is the call to action, directing the viewer to their next step, perhaps watching another related video or clicking an affiliate link for a CRM tool.
What makes that 5-step framework so incredibly powerful is that it is a repeatable template. It perfectly embodies Lady Z's philosophy of small step systems. When you sit down to create your second video or your 10th video, you do not have to stare at a blank screen and reinvent the wheel. You just plug new research into that exact same 5-step structure. So we have the framework, but how do we actually build it? Let's bring this all together and look at the actual tools. The guide highlights 5 beginner models you can launch right now for $0. AI tech explainers, business or side hustle channels, educational how-tos, listicle and research videos, and storytelling case studies. To execute these, we return to those holy grail starter tools we mentioned earlier. Let's look at how they actually work together in a workflow.
It is a seamless process once you understand the individual functions. You have Canva, which serves as your visual powerhouse. This is where you create your animated slides, your whiteboards, your video thumbnails, and even AI avatars.
Yeah.
And then for those VOX-style documentaries, you pull high-quality free stock footage and imagery from platforms like Pexels or Pixabay.
Now, if you're making technical tutorials and need to show your audience exactly how a software works, you use OBS Studio, which is a completely free, highly reliable screen recording software. And then to stitch all of this together, the voiceover, the Canva graphics, the screen recordings, the stock footage, you use CapCut.
Right.
The guide specifically notes CapCut as being exceptionally beginner-friendly. But if you prefer open-source software, OpenShot is listed as a great alternative, too.
But there is one final tool in this workflow that deserves a massive spotlight, especially for the research phase of these videos, and that is Google Notebook LM.
Oh, yes.
The guide describes it as an AI-powered research and note-taking assistant. But the critical distinction is that it operates as a grounded AI.
Let's clearly define what grounded AI means, because for someone trying to research a factual case study, this is an absolute game changer.
It really is. When you use a standard AI chatbot and ask it a question, it searches vast generalized training data and occasionally it hallucinates, meaning it confidently makes up false information.
Which is terrifying if you're making an educational video.
Exactly. NotebookLM is totally different. It only answers questions based on the specific sources that you explicitly upload into it. You provide it with specific PDFs, Google Docs, trusted website URLs, or even transcripts of other YouTube videos. It synthesizes only that localized information. This drastically reduces hallucinations, allowing a creator to do deep, highly accurate analysis for their scripts in a fraction of the time.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If we tie all of these threads together, you have this incredible suite of free tools, from the research power of Notebook LM to the visual design of Canva to the editing of CapCut. You have the high CPM niches where advertisers are actively spending money. And you have the VOX-style 5-step structural template to eliminate the guesswork of script writing.
And if we circle all the way back to Lady Z, you now have the power to practice what her profile calls automation-first thinking. Her entire educational mission is to help people build digital income in a way that feels light, calm, and manageable over the long term.
Light and calm, that's the dream.
It is. By utilizing Notebook LM to instantly organize your complex research, Canva to easily build your visual assets, and a repeatable structure so you never start from scratch, you aren't grinding yourself into the ground. You are executing Lady Z's vision of sustainable digital growth.
It is the perfect marriage of high-level strategy and grounded step-by-step execution. To recap our journey today, you now know that the entry fee for a highly professional YouTube channel in 2026 is exactly $0. You understand the secret math of high CPM niches, meaning you know how to attract audiences that advertisers actually pay for. You have a repeatable 5-step VOX structure to make faceless videos deeply compelling without needing a camera. And perhaps most importantly, you have the warm, step-by-step anti-overwhelm mindset of Lady Z to keep you focused and safe from burnout.
It is a comprehensive, highly tactical blueprint. But before we wrap up, this raises an important question, something for you to mull over as you think about the kind of channel you want to start.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've established that anyone right now can create highly polished, structurally perfect, faceless VOX-style videos for absolutely $0 using AI and stock footage. That the baseline of internet content is rapidly becoming flawlessly perfect and entirely faceless, will the future of YouTube eventually see a massive premium placed on raw, unpolished, highly authentic human mistakes?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. As the faceless content becomes completely flawless, might your messy, human, on-camera talking head, stumbles and all, actually become your greatest competitive advantage in building real, lasting trust?
That is a fascinating thought to leave on. The free tools give you the power to create perfection, but your humanity might just be the ultimate niche. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. You have the map, you have the mindset, and you have the tool stack. All that's left is for you to take that first small step today. We will see you next time.